So good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming to our first Graduate Student Appreciation Week event this week. We're so Erin Bull. So she became the Dean of UNCG Online in July of 2019. And Dean Bull was previously the Associate Dean of Academic Affairs at Syracuse University, which is also where she earned her PhD in Instructional Design, Development, and Evaluation. So with that, I'm going to let Dean Bull take over and talk to us about Mentoring Matters. Thanks so much for coming today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Lexi. And so welcome. Thank you for letting me be your kickoff session for the week. I looked at the schedule this morning and it looks like you have a lot of great sessions. I think it's pretty awesome that you're also doing professional headshots as an opportunity too. So I think it's wonderful. So thank you for letting me be a part of this week. So I just wanted to start with a quick question. Since there's only 3 of us or 4 of us on the call, you're welcome to just unmute. I was going to say to do it in the chat if there were more of you, so just unmute. But I'm wondering what words or phrases are conjured up when you think about mentoring or mentorship?
Guidance.
Guidance, good.
Support.
Support, yep, that's another good one.
Leadership.
Good.
Confidence.
Confidence, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Encourage.
Encourage, is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, good. Awesome. All right. These are great. Okay, thank you. So I'm going to share my screen and I have just a couple of random definitions on my slides that I can share with you. The other piece is actually, let me see, can I get into the chat? While I'm doing this, I apologize. I wanted to give you, you should have access to the presentation. So the reason I am sharing this with you now is that I have an article linked below where there's about 16 different definitions of what mentorship is. So I wanted to just give you access to that so you could see it. But mentoring is a long-term relationship that meets a development need, right? So helps develop full potential, benefits all partners, mentor, mentee, and the organization. Mentoring is a protected relationship in which learning and experimentation can occur. Potential skills can be developed, right? Measured in terms of competencies gained. A professional relationship, developed insight through reflection, and being a sounding board and encouraging, right? So some of the words that you all were sharing can be found in these definitions. So that's wonderful. I wanted to quickly go over, I apologize, some myths and demystify them around mentoring. So the first one is that, you have to find, there's this pressure, there's this thought around, you have to find a perfect mentor. But these days, it's rare that individuals find a mentor that is their single soul mentor that follows them all the way through their life cycle and career, right? So we're finding that individuals have different types of mentor along their journey and their path. Additionally, mentoring is a formal long-term relationship, right? So what we know is that the millennial generation and those that follow that generation are unattached to organizations and institutions, unlike the baby boomer generation, right? That generation really had a loyalty and stuck with companies for longer term. But we know that the upcoming generations really are open to changing jobs more freely and fluidly. So the fact that they would necessarily have a long-term advising relationship may be unrealistic or unnecessary. Additionally, we have seen a change in mentoring in that it can be a simple 1-hour session or a 6-month or a 1-year relationship or some other combination of that. It's really not this long-term lifespan relationship. Additionally, we're seeing that you don't always need that big ticket item in your career to engage with your mentor, right? It can just be a snippet in time to get the information that you need at that point in time. The third myth is that mentoring is for only junior people. So it's just an opportunity for those who are starting out in their professional careers. So again, Not the case, right? Many individuals at many stages in their career can benefit from advice and guidance from someone who's experienced in a particular area or field, and to provide that guidance. So there are many points throughout that lifetime, your lifetime cycle, when you might need assistance. So get it, right? The last myth is that mentoring is something that more experienced people do out of the goodness of their hearts. So while that may be a primary motivating factor, it's not necessarily the only one. It can be an honor for a mentor to serve as a mentor, but really it should be beneficial. The relationship should be beneficial for both parties, right? So when you think about a mentor that you want to engage with, think about what you too can offer the mentor, right? So can you provide a unique perspective for the organization for which the mentor is connected to? Do you bring valuable outside information that could help the mentor in he or she's current role, right? It doesn't have to be a direct barter, right? It sounds like I'm asking for you to negotiate that up front, but that's not what I mean. Just thinking through what too could you bring to the table to help benefit your mentor as you're working in the relationship that you have. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. The next bit that I wanted to talk to you about was a mentoring action plan. So a map, how appropriate, right? So you really need to think about, what do you want to gain? What are your goals? Where do you want to go? What are you hoping to get from a mentor? So here are some questions to think about as you are considering where it is, what path you're on, and how you want to go, and what guiding principles you want to set forth for yourself, sort of like that beacon, that light that you're going to head towards. So this is my first activity for all of you. I just wanted you to take about 5 minutes. I put the questions here so that you can see them, to think through your own mentoring action plan. We're going to use that a little bit later on in the conversation. So if you could just take 5 minutes and build that out, it would be great. So I'm going to set a timer too. And let me know if you have any questions. I'll check the chat as well. So out of all of the participants that are here, there's 2 minutes left, but I also don't want you tapping your fingers and wishing I would move on, and I can't see all of your faces. So are you all still working? Because you can still have the 2 minutes.
I had one more left.
All right, so you keep going then. You take your time. Okay, I think we're good. So, thank you for participating in that. We will do something with that in a moment. But before we move on to that next activity, in thinking about mentorship, right? And what we know about the millennial generations and those that are coming after them, I was reflecting on my own experience because Dean Burke, this is the second time she's asked me to talk about mentorship, first in the online environment and then now to all of you for graduation and appreciation week. So when I was thinking about that, I thought, jeepers, who has my mentor been? And so as I thought about it, I thought, oh, well, that one was a mentor. And oh, this person was a mentor. And well, that person was a mentor for a period of time. And so as I started going through this, I thought, I wonder, is mentorship really what we're talking about here? And so as I started doing my own research on this, what I came across was this idea of a personal board of directors. So, a personal board of directors is useful because you can cultivate an extensive network of professional contacts, right? So you're developing a strong, tight-knit inner circle. Your personal board of directors are individuals who fulfill specific roles that is very beneficial to you. So it's sort of like companies that take great care in selecting their corporate board members, right? Like you should too. So companies have boards of directors that help them see many perspectives, see things through many lenses that guide them, in some cases, hold them accountable. So a personal board of directors should be a diverse group of leaders, influencers, and corporate heavy hitters, each of whom brings unique strengths to what they can offer to you. They're a team of individuals who inspire you, who challenge you, and who motivate you to make bold moves, right? The best professional board of directors will tell you like it is. They'll serve as a sounding board for you. And you can decide, do you want to convene them as a full group? Do you want to convene them individually? Do you want to convene a couple at a time? You can think through what that would look like. You want to keep in mind that a person is serving on your professional board of directors for free, right? So this is tying back to some of what we talked about with the mentorship. You really want to have that value add in the relationship, have it be a two-way street about what you can also bring to the professional board of directors as well. You want to loop in your professional board of directors. So if we think about mentorship and having a short-term opportunity with someone around that engagement, and they've offered you advice, it's valuable to loop back to those individuals to say, hey, I thought about what we talked about, and here's how I applied it, and here's how it benefited me, right? To give them that feedback as well. And again, you want it to be a variety of individuals. So there's many ways you can compose your professional board of directors. So I'm just going to walk through these. I'm sure some of them are intuitive and you'll know exactly what it means just by the name, but I am going to walk through some definitions for you. So mentors and guides are trusted advisors who can provide perspective, counsel, guidance, and access to resources as your career progresses. This type of individual will offer real focus into your strengths, your development needs, opportunities, and environments so that you can better navigate whatever comes your way. Sponsors and advocates are usually senior in the organizations for which they are a part of. They have a social and political or I should say political capital that they can spend on your behalf. They put their reputations on the line to provide opportunities for you. Coaches and teachers, this group tends to focus narrowly on specific goal setting, right? They're goal achieving, goal reviewing, goal oriented. So once your goals have been identified, that person will focus on helping you achieve those very specific narrow goals. Additionally, networks and networking contacts and information sources. So these individuals give insight into the state of the job market or the broader work environment. They offer perspectives about potential professional opportunities that could be available to you. Additionally, there is a feedback pool. So the feedback pool is that no single ally can provide all the feedback and advice we need to make strides in our career. So what you'll want to do is include some personal critics on your PBOD, right? You want critics that can identify your flaws and warn us of potential roadblocks and limitations that we may encounter. You don't always want a cheerleader in your corner, right? Sometimes that's not helpful. And if I can give you an example, I had a faculty member when I was in my undergrad who had felt that I had challenges in math courses, and that it would not benefit me in my computer science degree, right? We can see how that might be a problem. I can't really succeed in math courses, and so therefore I probably shouldn't pursue a degree in computer science. But thankfully, I had a wonderful computer science chair who said, this is an opportunity for you to engage with this faculty member and work closely with that faculty member to see if they can help guide you and move you forward. And so that faculty member ended up being very supportive of me in my undergraduate studies and really helped provide other ways and opportunities for me to think through math and succeed and continue on with my achievement of my computer science degree. So instead of pushing away from that person, I had an opportunity to work with that person who was a critic of me, but then eventually it helped me in the end. So just think about including some critics. Additionally, include some friends, right? Friendships are critical to our work lives. So Gallup did a study and they found that individuals who have a friend in the workplace are more likely to be engaged in the workplace. So those friends that you might include on your PBOD can relate to what you're going through and they can support you, right? That's always important. So again, on the other side of this slide are some other names, right, for some of these mentor and guides or sponsors and advocates, right? So it's just another way of thinking this through. I know that sometimes it's helpful to have quite a few examples. So a connector is the people person, right? They can have great relationships with just about everyone and they want to open doors for you, right? Those are the people that want to help you get connected and help you grow your network. The informational powerhouse is similar to what we talked about with the sponsor and an advocate. So that person has their finger on the pulse of what is going on in the organization with the broader business issues as well. And then there's the influencer. So that's the person who can make things happen for you. They really amplify your voice and can advocate for opportunities for you that you may not have already had. Additionally, a mentor, which we've already talked about, and then a sponsor. So that person can really accelerate potentially your career by putting your name forward for high visibility assignments or promotions and the like. So we're going to do another quick solo activity for 5 minutes. I just put the short names here on the right side of this slide, but think through your map right? So your plan, and think about who you might identify to serve on your PBOD, okay? Our next step will be to share it out as a group, but just take 5 minutes. Again, I'll set my timer and I'll also check the chat at this point.
Dean Bull, could I ask a question? So would you say that we have to have, just like in your recommendation for mentoring, should we have a different person for each of these things? Or is it okay if like one person, like let's say our faculty advisor, like is both the connector and the mentor? Would you say that's appropriate?
So I think that you need to do what's right for you and your goals, right? So sometimes they'll be the same person and sometimes they'll be different people. And I think it's going to change as you go throughout your professional journey. Does that help you?
Yeah, so most likely as we, I guess, progress in our professional journey, we would probably like gain more mentors and then thus have one for each. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. And you might have multiples. You might end up with 2 for the same, right? Okay, so we have about 30 seconds left. So be thinking about wrapping up your final comments and what you're writing down. And so what we're going to do, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. This is just to help you all so you can wrap up for the last few seconds. We're going to do a group activity where if you are comfortable, then we're going to share out what our plans are and then who we identified for our board of directors and why, right? Like how does that connection help? So I'm going to stop sharing and we can start sharing now. So Lexi, here's another piece. So because we are not in breakout groups, this piece is going to get recorded. So that means that if someone doesn't really want to share it with all the masses, should we go into a breakout group at this point?
Yeah, either way, I can also pause the recording for a little while if we don't want to.
Oh, well, that would probably be easier.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, if would that make everybody else more comfortable if we paused it?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, okay. Pausing now.
Hello all. I finished a little project, so I thought I'd stop in.
Thanks. So go ahead, Lexi. Were you going to say something?
I was just gonna say hi. I just read your email, Dean Burke. Thanks for popping in our first GSAW we got going on here.
I'm gonna check in when I can.
As you should. Please do. Pop into every meeting you can.
I'm gonna have to find my button and make sure I'm wearing it. Gratitude. All right, you guys continue because Karen is awesome.
Thanks for that. So, all right, I have to find my PowerPoint. So give me 1 second because I think it was on full screen. So I'm working on a laptop. Makes it a little tricky sometimes. Okay, I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. Share. Okay, we're back in business. Present. Okay, so thank you for participating in the small group activity. And I am just going to do a quick wrap up here. So in thinking about mentee best practices, right, we want to own the opportunity. You really want to take advantage of the people that you have identified in your professional development or in your own personal board of directors. You want to really take advantage of the expertise that those individuals are offering to guide you and help you and assist you with. Make sure that you're utilizing that map, and your map is going to change, right? Your plan will change as you continue to move on in your professional careers, or even if you're identifying personal goals that you have, that will change, and be okay with that ebb and flow of who's on your personal board of directors and what your plan looks like. Think about maybe it is that you're going to have regularly scheduled meetings, or maybe you're not, right? It's just going to depend on what your needs are at that time. But it is important to make sure that you know what you want to get from the meetings that you're having with your individuals on your personal board of directors, right? Because you don't want to squander that time that you have with those individuals. Again, obstacles, successes, short-term, long-term goals, and be thinking and open to that feedback, especially if you're putting a critic on your personal board of directors, right? Sometimes it's hard for us to hear those critiques of where we can improve, but that is what you want to get, right? That is the kind of support that you also need in order to make sure that you're striving to achieve those goals. So just be open and thinking about that this is for your own personal improvement and development. And be willing to talk to them again about how is it going, right? And how their advice assisted you in attaining those goals. And again, renegotiate and follow through on your commitments and maintain confidentiality. This is another thing, right? Is that you're expecting your mentors to share, to keep that confidence. And so you want to do that for them as well if they are sharing some of their experiences with you and their lessons learned along the way, right? So just keeping that in mind. Okay. And remember that your professional board of directors only works when you're honest and have a two-way exchange, that you're respectful when you're debating on differing views, that you have a critical assessment of ideas and conversations that you're having, right? Sometimes you may get advice and it's not advice that works for you. So think about that, right? Don't just take the advice blindly. Thinking about the leveling of the power gradient, right? And so what you have to think about, who are those people that you're asking for to serve on your board of directors. So if it is a leader in the industry that maybe is above you in rank, or however that looks, make sure that you know what that power dynamic is and that you are respectful of it, but that you also are, it's a mutual beneficial opportunity there, right? So I hope that what I'm saying there is making sense. And I can't see you because you can see my screen. I can't see all of you, so I can't see if that's resonating with you. So feel free to ask a question. You want to be respectful of limits and boundaries, and again, that commitment to confidentiality. So that was my presentation for the day. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and just open it up to all of you to ask if you have any other additional questions, or anything that you want to share.
Where do you think would be a good place to start to find your network and get your personal board of directors?
So I think that we talked about some of those, right? So you talked about an advisor that has been super beneficial to you. I think that that's an opportunity to ask your advisor, you know, in your experience, where do you see other individuals that I could reach out to? I have a gap in X, right? You identified that you have some gaps in those board of directors that you would like to build. So you could be very targeted around who specifically, like what type of support do you need, and ask specifically for that. I think that if you're involved in any professional organizations, those are places that you can look to identify some opportunities to build that network and personal board of directors. I think that here at UNCG is a wonderful opportunity to look for that, right? Look at within your department, look at the individuals that are sitting in this room. They may have connections for you. If you really are clear about what your end goals are and where your gaps are and where you need that support, then it makes it easier to make that ask of individuals that you know, you can reach out to. Does that help?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is very helpful. Even I'm thinking about it as like a dissertation committee. When I was looking for my committee, it was like, okay, I need this person that's an expert on this and this person that's an expert on this. And then my last spot I had open, I was like, okay, now I just need somebody that can give me good feedback that I like communicate really well with. So yeah, I think I wish that I could have played this presentation for everybody choosing their committee members. I think some people would have picked a couple different people. But yeah, this has been super helpful. So thank you so much, Dean Bull. I really appreciate it.
Of course, of course. My dissertation chair used to say it's a marriage. Sometimes it goes well, sometimes it goes bad, but you know, right, you're committed. So yeah, yep.
Could you maybe go over a couple of questions that you would ask somebody that maybe like we are applying for a job, well, we're kind of interviewing them as well. We want to see if if their mentoring style is appropriate for us. Like what type of questions do you think would really address that and like expose whether they would be a good communicator with us or not?
So I think that you need to be clear about, for example, what is your communication style? So do you appreciate someone who's direct and to the point? Do you appreciate someone that uses a lot of metaphors? Do you appreciate someone that, I don't know, talks in kind of roundabout circles? I don't even know, right? Because I usually I like direct feedback, so I don't know all the other ones. So you know, knowing what it is specifically that you're looking for and then asking questions around that. So I can tell you that when I was engaging with someone that I was thinking about having a mentor relationship with, I wanted someone that was experienced in strengths. So strengths is a type of an assessment opportunity for those of you who are not familiar. So for me, that really resonated with me at the time that I was looking for professional development and looking to add to my personal board of directors. And so when I talked to that person, I said, you know, what is your experience around this? And you know, what are your feelings about it? Do you buy into it, right? Those were kinds of the questions that I was looking for. Now, granted, I didn't have to actually specifically ask in that way because it just so happened that the individual was a strengths coach. And I was like, oh, you're speaking my language. Yay, come on board, right? So I think it just depends on who you're talking to and what are the things that you need will drive the questions that you're going to ask, right? That's a super roundabout way of getting to what you want to know.
That definitely helps. Thank you. And
Right.
then,
So, and if I bring, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but if I bring it back to your example of dissertation, right? So you're asking your methodologist a lot of different questions, then you're asking the person that you want to serve as your chair, right?
Do you recommend having people from different fields? So say I have a very wide gap. So MBA program, there's a very wide field that you can go into. So do you recommend having people from different departments potentially at UNCG as your mentors, or direct like hone in on one thing?
I think that you need what you need for your goals at the time. So it doesn't, so just like I said, it doesn't make sense to fill in all of the categories if that doesn't make sense for where you're headed and what your direction is, right? And so, oh, I just had a mind blank. I had something to say. Re-ask me your question again and maybe it'll trigger me. Go.
Do you think that it's good to have multiple mentors in different departments, or kind of hone in on just one section at a time?
Yeah, so it didn't come back to me. I was hoping it would. But so what you really want to do is customize it for what you need at that point in time. And so it may be that, oh, here it is. It came back to me. Ready? Okay. So just like companies have board of directors, remember we talked about this? So companies have board of directors and they have multiple perspectives and multiple people on those boards of directors helping them, because the goal is that they're providing input from different lenses. So to answer your question, maybe where you are and what you need and what will meet that need is, yes, having representation from many different departments, but maybe it won't because that's not the particular goal that you're working on. Does that help? All right, thanks for bearing with me. I just total mind blank, like it shot right out my ear. I apologize.
my other question was your recommendations for us now. So a lot of us work with undergraduate students at UNCG, and we were never really taught how to mentor students. It was just like, here's a student, like do something with them. So what would you recommend as far as like us meeting students, us trying to mentor students, things that we can do for them? Because I'm all for the bringing the next generation behind you.
So that's such a lovely sentiment. So in true educator fashion, I'm going to ask you, so based on what we talked about today, how, because this was one of your questions that you said, like, how do we as graduate students then become mentors? So I did think about this. So this was coming at you anyway. So thanks for the prep. So how do you think now, after the conversation that we've had today, that you can take this and apply it to that next generation? Like what are some things that are kind of sticking out to you in your guts?
I think asking the questions that you asked us really made me think, and a couple of them were like hard to answer. I was like, ooh, I don't know like what I would say to that. So I screenshotted that slide and I'm going to reuse that. So I'm thinking, for me, like we interview quite a few undergrads before they work with us, and it's always very hard to like know in an interview if they're going to work well with you or not. So I think these questions would almost be really good interview questions, just like, what are your goals? What are skills that you want to improve on? Are those skills that I have, and are those skills that I can share with you? And then maybe in that process, we would realize I'm not the right mentor for that student, or I am with my skills. So yeah, is that a good answer? Okay.
And thinking about the experiences that you've had and the person that's asking for you to be the mentor too, right? So maybe you're in the same department and you're on the same pursuing the same research. And so you all may have similar experiences so that you can share, here's what I learned, here's how it went for me. You know, here's my 2020 view, like my hindsight is 2020 is what I'm trying to say, right? So what I learned and what I wish I had known, right? Like you can help with that advice and guidance as well. Did the link that I shared to my presentation, did that work for all of you? I just reshared it in the chat. Okay. I just want to make sure
pasted it.
Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure that you can have access to the resources as well.
And I am going to post that link that you gave us on our YouTube channel too. So anybody that watches this will be able to pull up your slides.
Sounds good. Any other thoughts?
I just want to thank you for sharing your information and your time with us, because it is super helpful to walk through this, because I've been trying to think about who would be a good mentor, what do I need to look for in a mentor, and knowing that the questions that you've asked us will help me to be able to decipher and determine who's going to be better for me.
Good. I'm glad that that was helpful. So I put my contact information in the chat, and then I just updated the Google Slides, so it's on there as well. So if anybody else if you forget it, or if anybody else needs it, they can contact me. So that's in there as well. All right.
Well, awesome. I appreciate all of you coming this morning, and anybody that is watching the recording. All of the links that Dean Bull talked about today are going to be below the video. And thank you so much, Dean Bull, for coming. You were our first online UNCG Online person, so thank you for the recommendation, Dean Burke. And I'm glad that our first event went so well. So this is exciting. Appreciate your time and all of your information. I'll definitely be contacting you in the future to come back to another event.
Yay. All right. Thank you, everyone. Good luck. Enjoy your week.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.